Hi, good morning, and thanks for clicking on to the Monday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Hope everybody has had a good weekend. Of course, it is the final day of the bank holiday weekend, and what an interesting weather pattern that we've got at the moment here. I know many people are probably saying it's horrible, it's crazy, it's the 5th of June, 6th of June, and it's meant to be warm. Yeah, and I get that. Certainly, we didn't have a warm day across the Midlands and eastern portions of England yesterday. In fact, we could have seen the coolest day at RAF Wittering since 1985 for the month of June here. So, an 11-degree high at Wittering. We had 10.1 at Leek Thorncliffe. We had Nottingham Weather Centre at 10.9 Celsius. We had Coldest Hill in the Birmingham area, 11.3. You have to go all the way up into Scotland, where the warmest temperature was unbelievable 20.8 Celsius. Yeah, it's nothing to write home about, certainly for the time of the year. But high pressure firmly in charge across the northern half of the British Isles, producing a very pleasant weekend indeed. But temperatures weren't overly warm, and the reason why is the source region of that high came from a fairly cool source and therefore contained some fairly fresh air within it. So, of course, the clear skies and light winds at night allowed the temperature to drop below freezing in a couple of spots. Kinbrace had back-to-back nights below freezing, and that actually means that we've had more nights below freezing in June than we did in May, believe it or not, which is quite interesting across northern stations of the UK. But temperatures generally in the kind of 22 to 23 Celsius range for a maximum across the British Isles during the weekend overall. Somewhat cooler than that across more southern portions of the British Isles. Of course, we had the convective showers and thunderstorms that spread north out of France across the Channel in the southern and central portions of England. And then those showers and thunderstorms kind of eventually kind of faded, and we were left with a kind of legacy of laden skies, cloudy skies, rainy conditions, and that is what was responsible for really pegging back the temperatures across the central swathe of the British Isles here. So a cool day across many portions of central and northern Wales and through the Midlands all the way to the east coast during the course of yesterday. And it was Dan Hawley that pointed out that 11 Celsius at Wittering, if the temperature, providing the temperature doesn't go above that value up until 10 a.m. this morning, that will be the coldest June day since 85 for here. Joint second coolest day for the month of June since the station opened in 1955. So amazing stuff indeed. This is the current radar this morning as of recording. Area of low pressure kind of starting to pull away, and we are still seeing onshore winds, fresh conditions, and heavy rainfall driving into the coast. It's more like an autumn type setup this morning across the parts of the UK as opposed to early summer. But eventually that will pull away, and we will see conditions improving somewhat. Looking at the current setup here, so there's that area of low pressure pulling into the near continent. The high over Scotland slowly starting to fade, and that is going to open the door to a couple of systems moving in off the Atlantic. The first arrives tomorrow as I play through the loop here. You can see here that that area of low pressure that affected the southern half of the UK over the last couple of days somewhat becomes trapped beneath that ridge. We've got high pressure over Eastern Europe, high pressure to the north of the UK. It actually has nowhere to go, but eventually it will clear out. And as it does so, we see the first of two systems moving in. So later in the day, tomorrow and the Wednesday, we've got the first system comes through. Associated frontal system brings a spell of increased breeze or wind, and also showers or longer spells of rain across much of the British Isles during the course of Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we'll have another system, and this is something that I've been keeping an eye on quite closely, because there's some very interesting aspects about this area of low pressure that I want to discuss. Notice the pressure, 973 millibars, unusually deep for the time of the year, and it is going to get fairly close to the UK. It looks at the moment that the models keep the core of that system offshore, but we do see an increase in southwesterly winds, possible gale force conditions up the western side of Ireland, western side of the British Isles as well, with a spell of rain and a legacy of shower activity. But what is noteworthy about this system in particular, folks, is I want to go back to an old model run, and I'm actually going to show you the origins of this area of low pressure, because if I can actually manage to pull it up, this is, I don't know if I'm going to manage to do it, unfortunately. I had planned to do this, but just bear with me 1 second here. I might get it. I definitely want to show you this, because this is something definitely worth looking at here. So if we skip right back to the oldest run, so May 28th, and there we go, and you look at this feature right here entering the west coast of Mexico. That, folks, is the system that is expected to push up the western flank of the UK and Ireland during the day on Friday. Amazing stuff. So that system crossed over the Mexican landmass, redeveloped on the east coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, crossed over Cuba, crossed over the south of Florida, dropping a month's worth of rain in Miami, upwards of nearly a foot of rain in a 3-day period over South Florida. Then it has now become Tropical Storm Alex. Now, I believe it went onshore in Mexico as Storm Agatha, and it has been renamed by the National Hurricane Center as Alex. It may reach hurricane status over the next 24 hours or so, but as I play through this loop, and this is the latest run off the GFS, it rides the top of that Azores high, and eventually it makes an approach at the UK late this week here. So it's always interesting to see the origins of these areas of low pressure, and it goes all the way back to the Pacific Ocean, which is quite interesting. Now this, folks, is also interesting as well, because I put out a tweet back on the 20th of May, and I said that this would be an ugly system if it materialized. And I've already alluded to this aspect, that somebody had made mention, why are you throwing this up, it's not going to happen. And I want to re-emphasize the point, never say never, and never say that something can't happen. And it just shows you that away back nearly 2 weeks ago, the model indicated an unusually deep area of low pressure over the UK. And by the end of this week, the time frame a little bit out, it's actually dated today, Monday the 6th. We had the model indicated a 987 millibar low just off the east coast of the UK, bringing heavy rain, gale force winds onshore across the UK. Yeah, it's not the exact same output now, but it's interesting that the modelling was indicating something on an unusually deep area of low pressure affecting the UK close to the same time frame. And many people are saying, where is summer 2022? And I can understand that, because we are certainly not seeing anything just yet. But this is a complex setup here, folks, and I do think what's going to happen is that we are going to start to see a situation where there is a lot of heat that's trying to come out of Africa and trying to push northwards. And this fight with Atlantic weather trying to move into the British Isles, I do think that eventually we will get that surge of heat towards the UK in the next couple of weeks, I think, at least anyway. But there could be these swings back and forward between low pressure and cool weather versus hot, dry weather. It is certainly a complex situation overall. For the month of June thus far, the first 5 days of the month, actually below normal, if you notice here, across much of England and Wales, above normal across the western side of Scotland, below normal south of Ireland here. average conditions for much of Ireland. Central and western portions of Iberia below normal, interestingly enough. Very warm compared to normal. Eastern portions of Spain through France and through the Mediterranean countries here, the north coast of the Netherlands, Germany, Poland below normal, the Baltic region below normal as well. It'll be interesting to see where this month winds up when all is said and done. But it looks as if it's turned out to be relatively wet thus far, and there is more rain to come in the next 5 days or so. Keep it right here on YouTube. Please do hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And I'll hopefully be back again tomorrow with more. Have a great Monday. Bye for now.